Hello, everybody. In this session, we'll explore how AI is reshaping leadership roles at the very top. Please welcome our panelists, Jeff Hausmann, CBDO at Page at UT, Bernd Dattler, CIO and CDO at Asfinag, and Jasmin Kaiser, CIO and CDO at Lufthansa Cargo. Moderating this conversation is my dear colleague Lukas Pfeiffer from Piabo Communications. Enjoy.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Lukas, not Sonja. There's a short-term crossing in the agenda, so please mind that I'm happy to introduce three fantastic people on stage. Let me shortly introduce them, and please don't mind helping my iPhone because I got the information at short-term. Like always in the IT, some things happened this way. First of all, we have Jasmin Kaiser. She's CIO and CDO at Lufthansa Cargo, where she oversees the digital transformation and IT strategy for one of the world's top air freight companies. Jasmin leads initiatives to use AI to optimize flight routes, forecast cargo flows, and create more intelligent, efficient logistics operations globally. Welcome, Jasmin. Second, we have Jeff Hausmann. He's Chief Product and Data Officer and board member at PagerDuty. He leads the company's product and data strategy, helping organizations respond in real time to critical issues. I want to learn more from you, Jeff, how this is working in the real world. And last but not least, we have Bernd Dattler. Welcome, Bernd. He's CIO and CDO at Austria's Highway and Toll System Operator, ASFINAG, is it right? Asfinag. Okay, I learned something. Asfinag from Austria. And within this and under his leadership, Asfinag has become a pioneer in digital infrastructure. He told me about a lot of IoT connectors and sensors. I want to learn more about that as well. So welcome everybody here on stage at the We Are Developers Tech Leader stage. So the topic for today is AI in leadership. So many of us, maybe a lot of you, I guess, are using AI on a productivity level, private business use. But what's about AI in leadership? We would like to discuss how technology is reshaping your executive roles on a C-level leadership base. And that's why I would like to ask all of you, I mean, AI is no longer just a support tool. Everybody knows how to use ChatGPT, Perplexity, stuff like that. But when it comes to strategic as a driver in your leadership role, how does AI influence your role on a C-level and you and your executive colleagues over the past few months or years? I would like to start with you, Jasmin, please.
Thanks a lot. I have to be the first one. Yeah, so I think, of course, we need to differentiate a little bit. I think when we talk about our CIOs and CTO roles, we were quite surprised when the whole world drove crazy when ChatGPT was released. But when we look at our business peers, I think it's quite amazing to see how they have to adapt. I think for us as IT people, that has been quite common. We have to adapt from time to time. There are always new stuff. There's always new stuff out there. But the business colleagues, they cannot ignore the topic anymore. And that was for me the quite fascinating thing to see, how they had to adapt. And I think this will be so key for any company in this world if you're not adapting to that, if you're not trying to keep up the pace that is going on. I think it was said earlier here on stage, then your company will be transformed from the outside.
Jeff, what do you think?
Well, I think one of the things that everybody has to appreciate is you have to appreciate that the world is absolutely changed. when I think about what it means to be a leader that runs development teams and has developers, but also being a business leader, to Jasmine's point, we focus on how do we harness the opportunity that this technology provides. And it provides opportunity in terms of how we do things, and we have to be open, and you have to have the mindset, the cultural transformation that we can talk about to encourage people to try it and use it and experiment. We also have to think about what's the implication for all the people that we serve as our customers and their customers. And that also changes very much, since our world is around operational resilience. How does the new tech stack create and introduce new modes of operational failure that we have to help people to overcome? So it's really multifaceted in terms of how you have to think about it, and it is changing so rapidly, which we can talk about, that you have to change your time scale. Your strategic planning has to be rapidly iterating over time.
Okay. Bernd, what do you think? What's on your executive role changing AI in your daily life?
I think if we are talking about AI, mostly today, Gen AI, of course, is making the most of it.
Sure.
Classic discriminative AI has been around for a long time, and we have, as you already mentioned, we have roughly 100,000 IoT equipment out in the field which generate loads of data. Classic video analysis, enforcement use cases, asset management use cases, all these things have been around for some time. Also, classic AI is not as fast moving as Gen AI is, because you need much more domain know-how, you need a lot of training data and things like that. So I think there is more time to adapt to this classic AI stuff, which I think we had done a good job so far. If you look at Gen AI, when ChatGPT hit in late 2022, I think it was clear very fast that this will become big. And I think as executives, we need to do a lot of things. On the one hand, we need to have or to create a clear governance for the organization in which way these tools can and should be used. This is one thing that is extremely important, because otherwise the company will do anything, and this is not beneficial. So it has changed very rapidly, and we need to adapt, and our business partners need to adapt, our customers need to adapt, of course. And basically, I think it is the role of the management to enable this change in a positive way that doesn't hit the organization.
If you like, I can add on this
Please.
point to make it also a bit more concrete. I think when I look back how much time I spent on the topic of AI on my agenda or on my strategy some years ago, I must admit it was maybe less than 5%. Of course, classical AI was there, and there was a team in place, and they were working on it, and they had great use cases, don't get me wrong. But when I look at how much it played a role in my agenda overall, it was very minor. With Gen AI, I think it already made up to 20–30% overall. And now, we as Lufthansa Cargo, as an air freight company, we are looking now into the next big thing from my perspective, which is called physical AI. So it's actually the merge of operation technology with IT and AI. And we are just starting that. Robotics and all that stuff is there. And then I think this will completely transform once again, and it will easily go up to a share of 60–70% when it comes to the overall strategy and the focus for the next years.
And is AI helping you make more precise, agile, data-driven leadership decisions, not even in your area from Lufthansa Cargo, but of course in yours and yours as well? What do you think? Does AI? Yeah, Jeff, please start.
Sure. I mean, I think if you reflect on, we've seen evolution, obviously, from generative AI to now agentic AI. And in generative AI, one of the things that it's helping to do in our particular space is it's helping people to make better decisions and to summarize, challenge, and bring more contextual information to help make decisions better. Decisions that are at the executive level, for sure, but also decisions tactically when there is a particular, let's say, a problem. How do I better understand the dynamics of what's happening to be able to bring together what is the true sort of indication of where the root cause problem is, and then how do I go in and address it faster? What's fascinating is now you're moving from a situation where I can provide more context to actually now I can have the AI take the action to solve the problem. So one of the frameworks that we work with customers on is when people are doing work, there tend to be 3 classes at a high level of the type of work. There are situations where you're doing something and you've had a problem, let's say, happen, but you've seen this problem before and you know how to solve the problem because you've successfully done it over and over again. So it's well known. On the other extreme, you have something you have never seen before. And in both cases, the AI can now help to either solve the problem on your behalf and not bother you, and it can do that faster, or it can give you the context to help you actually address something you've never seen before better to make it something that over time you know. Internally, I can say that we have improved our ability to respond to issues that we even have 37% faster. It's amazing the specific outcome that you can get to make these decisions and drive faster action by taking advantage of the tech.
Yeah, and then having advantage within your market, against your competitors, etc., etc. Bernd, you and your company, you're managing critical infrastructure, the highway of Austria, right? And there, I think, it should be a balance between innovation, safety, public trust. Then you have AI in an intersection. How do you manage this from a leadership perspective?
You're mentioning a valid point here, of course, and in Europe, of course, you have the AI Act, and when, of course, safety is involved, then there is also necessary to do this in a very responsible way. So, for instance, doing traffic management with AI would be a so-called critical application under the AI Act. There are separate rules for that, which will apply from August 2026 on. So actually, the use of AI, so we will use it to analyze our traffic management now and to create recommendations. Doing automatic traffic management already now would be a problem under the AI Act unless we comply with these new rules. So we are preparing for them. That should be the end game, of course, but we will do this in a very responsible way because we want our customers to be sure that they can be safe on our network. So whenever it comes to critical infrastructure, you have to look twice what you are allowed to do. It is less a technical question, but more a compliance question in that respect. Second thing is also a cultural topic. We are using AI to a certain extent in customer service processes. But however, usually the customer service processes we are facing are complaints about fines. And usually when someone gets a fine, then they are fed up already. And I think the worst thing that you could do is that they simply can use a bot which will not give them a satisfying answer. So we are doing this basically currently creating that as a support for the agents, and there is still a human in the loop that people feel that their case is treated by a person. So actually it is a balance between using the benefit and the productivity boost, but also having a responsible relation with the customers. So it is not as simple as just deploying the technology.
Sure, understand.
Can I add to that? Because one of the interesting things, we do a regular annual State of Digital Operations report. And to talk about how fundamentally and how quickly things are changing. Last year in 2024, in our digital operations report, we asked people how and what would be the limitations or what criteria or parameters would you put around using generative AI. 100% of responders, and this is 1,200 responders, some of whom are executives, some of whom are developers. The entire 100% said, I will only use generative AI with a human in the loop. That was 2024. 5 months ago, we reran our survey annually, And now 88% of people say that within the next 12 to 24 months, they will have agents as core to operations. Think about that. Because as Bernd's saying, this is not like the traditional ML deterministic models. You are now using different technology that will sometimes, as for instance we saw upstairs this morning, not always provide the right results or the correct results. So how do you manage this in a different way? But you also have to understand, if people are now more open to using it, which they are, as a leader, you have to culturally help support that, but have a growth mindset that you need to learn from it and fix things and help people be open about it.
Thanks for adding this, Jeff. And good talking about culture, talking about mindset, for instance. Yasmin, you said that the amount of time you spent with ChatGPT a few years ago and spending times right now. Do you think that you leaders, you executives need some new skills, a new mindset or a changed mindset implementing AI on a C-level?
First of all, more generic answer. We had a little chat before the session, and we all shared the same impression that it is hard for us to come up with a strategy in our departments ourselves. And I think this is a major change also if we compare that to several years ago. I think we all grown up in generating pictures, long-lasting strategies. That was a key discipline for the next 5 to 10 years. And you said it so nicely, it's so hard for you you have a couple of ideas, right? But you don't know how to tell it now to your supervisory board. And I think it starts with us, but it also starts with the mindset, of course, in our environment, be it the board, be it the supervisory board members, be it peers, be it employees, to accept and live comfortably in this fast-changing environment. This is important in general for our roles. Second aspect of your question is in terms of mindset. I think we have to understand, and I must admit I also underestimated that. When we as tech people, we are fascinated, we try things out, we play around. This is not the case for all employees in a company. I'm talking about a company which is not a tech company, but a logistics company here, right? You have, of course, those employees also in business who are keen to try out and they have this passion and succeed in that. But you have also many people you need to take along with you. And this is something I think we need to train ourselves and keep an eye on it, that we really take them along with us on that journey. So upskilling and all these training programs is a common theme where companies then try to really make that a top agenda topic.
Okay, cool. Bernd, new skills or mindset?
Yeah, let me first, as we talked beforehand, so it is not having a 5-year strategies when the tools come up every month with new features. So we are facing a very quick moving future. So this changes the way we can manage that on the first hand, and this is something that is hard to convey to board members, to supervisory board, etc. So basically what we did in ASFINAG is that we trained them. So I had the opportunity to have a workshop with the board members and the supervisory board and to give them some basic knowledge on Gen AI. And one thing that I really liked is after this workshop, our CEO at that time, the new government issued what it wanted to do in the next years, and he built a custom GPT and asked it what would be in it for our company. So this was the time when I said, okay, mission accomplished. So training the top executives first. Secondly, what I also would advise is to train your works council, which we also did, because they had a totally wrong picture out of the media. This topic, AI will rule the world, Skynet will be there tomorrow. So it was extremely good to give them knowledge as well, because of course there will not be only good news for them, But if they have a more realistic view on that, then it is much easier and better to talk and negotiate with them. So this was the second thing. Third thing is that we set up a platform internally, which is cross silos, where people contribute and where we share knowledge on AI. We started 2 years ago. And this is a Teams Live format, and now we have solid 500 people attending, 1.5 hours, on different topics. It is prompting, it is what is new in AI, what are the new features, what can you expect from it. And we also invite people that applied AI in the organization in a good way, so role models. And they show what they did, so we feature them. And so to spread the news and to encourage people to use it. So this also was important. And what is also important is to think about what will be the effect on the company. What we will see is that jobs will be redundant in a certain area to a certain extent. And we should be honest about that, and we should think about what people could do otherwise. So for instance, if you look at enforcement, or if you look at accounting, for instance, those people, you can do these things with AI tools very good, but these people may be good at labeling training data or whatever, so you can use them in different tasks. So think about that, talk about it in the company, and get a future perspective for them.
Let me add to that, because I think I agree 100%, and we've talked about this. One of the other things that we have also done is we have created an environment with generative AI access to the various different models in a structured way within the organization that protects the data, the IP or the intellectual property, and the privacy and security of what people are sharing. And then very similar to what Bernd said, we've created mechanisms by which people will share how they are using these new techniques to migrate from old code stack to new code stack, how they are creating assistance to help understand and analyze how you can determine whether or not a customer is having problems more proactively, helping to do customer service and support in whole different ways out to our constituents and our partners. And it's fascinating to see how people are actually seeing benefits themselves and then showcasing that with others across functions and departments. And as Jasmine said, even though I work in a technology company, I run a bunch of engineers, there are a lot of people in our organization who are not technical, who are now starting to actually write their own applications and being put into use within the company. And it's exciting, but it's also a little bit concerning, because what if those things make bad decisions? What if they're not working? And so culturally, you have to be out front of that, and you need to use the fact that it's a learning opportunity. Not everything is deterministic. I have an example that I got taught a long time ago, Lucas, that I'll just quickly say.
Please.
A particular project that I was working on once was a situation where I was doing mathematical models. My partner was testifying before the US Congress. This is before cell phones. We determined I found a problem in the model as he's testifying to Congress. When he came back and I went into his office to share with him, there's a problem. The first thing he said to me was, "Thank you." And then he asked what was going on, and we worked through the problem. That's the attitude that you need to have in how you help people learn and build from issues that will emerge.
Okay. You said a good word, showcasing what's possible. You mentioned being a role model. You said just try it, use it, live it. I would like to know from your leadership perspective, when you go into your teams, departments, far away from the headquarters, wherever, how do you foster AI decisions when it comes to trust the AI? So I assume everybody here is not afraid of AI, but people are different. How do you live the good in AI? Do we need to talk about explainable AI, or when it comes to trust? How do you foster this, Jasmin?
Difficult one. Of course, it depends on your use cases, right? It's so different if you talk about person-related data or if you talk about baggage, freight, or something else which is not person-related. It makes a huge difference. First of all, how to bring them in contact. My own team, for instance, we did a huge offsite and we used some front runners, some who are leading by example, and they offered boot camps. And from these boot camps, we had some spin-offs, which we offered then throughout the company, tailored to the specific needs of sales departments or accounting departments, which was a great success. And I think to answer your question, this is the key. They need to understand what is happening. And so you build the trust. I mean, you cannot just say you are now being replaced or you have to work with an AI, however intelligent it is, and you just get an answer and then you fully rely on it. You need to allow the tech people as well as the business people to jointly work on that. And we have a lot of successful projects by now where they work on the training data, they improve it. You also need to plan in certain capacity. When you release something, we put a beta on it, right? Like we did in software development before. We say, hey, this is to try out. Don't trust it fully now. Don't go to the customer and say X, Y, Z. But then you learn and you implement and you ask for feedback. And so then your programs, as unusual software developments, become better. And I think this is the key to jointly build trust.
Bernd, what do you think about?
I think when you look at AI, then AI will always have a certain potential for failure because your training data is never complete and never covers the whole world. So you need to be aware of that, and people need to know that. So this is, of course, something that has to be educated. If you look at classic AI, then what we usually do is that we talk to the business and ask which kind of failure would you rather tolerate? Would it be a false positive or a false negative? And how strong should we tune it and how much effort should we put into it? And if you look at Gen AI, the question is, how good is your content? If you have bad content, then your model will not give good answers. And what we see is that normally, if we have a load of documents, then usually it is not that they are wrong, but you have pieces of information in different documents, and you end up in one or the other, depending on the type of question. So content brushing is necessary, and people need to be aware of that, and shouldn't expect perfect answers from the beginning, because this is hard work together to brush the quality. And yeah, you need to take that into account. But we are much more intolerant towards technology than we are towards people. So this is something that also needs maybe a little mind shift.
Zero tolerance.
Right.
Okay. Jeff.
I think the short answer that I would add would be training is important, the cultural mindset is important, and modeling the behavior is important. So as leaders, helping make sure that you're showing people how you are using this technology yourself, how you're using it in personal and in professional situations, and encouraging other people to do that so that they're not scared of what it is. They have an appreciation for it, what it is, but they also understand the limitations, as everybody said.
Okay, thanks. Coming to our last question for today, and would like to kindly ask you to try to answer in 30 seconds or less. Imagine you in your C-suite, in your leadership position, in 5 years from now on. What do you believe will be the biggest shift caused by AI, Bernd?
We will have AI as virtual teammates also on management level.
Jasmin.
AI will be completely normal by then.
Cool. Jeff.
I was going to say what Bernd said. I'll add and say, I think what's going to happen is that decisions are actually going to be made and recommended in whole different ways. And the last thing I'd say is I think we will have a whole new set of colleagues. We might actually have new jobs at the senior level that we don't have today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for listening. I would like to thank you, and have a good day, and see you later. Bye.